Fight.
Hello again. That looks kind of dark. That looks a little bright. All right, we'll see if that works. But hello again. Hello from Cerritos, California. Not too far outside of, I don't know where we are, to be honest with you. I don't know how far we are from downtown. I mean, the thing with LA is that, like, it always depends on traffic, right? It could be like 5 miles from downtown LA, but that could actually be like an hour and a half. But anyway, it's a beautiful day out here. Very standard site for Los Angeles. Right, so today is Friday. Today is day 2 of our extended stay here, our extended weekend. Playing lots of poker at the Gardens Casino where I'm about to go. Proper meetup game today, which is why I have my meetup game shirt on. See that? MUGS, that stands for Meetup Games. Okay guys, that's all that really needs to be said here. The next scene that we will cut to will be from the casino where I'm gonna go meet Brad Owen and we're gonna do a live stream. And we're just gonna cut to a time lapse of us doing that right now. Live stream is fun. We did that for about 45 to 50 minutes. So the live stream serves as a fun way to sort of give the meetup game one last push, one last chance to let everybody know in the region, in the greater region, that we are here today, that there will be a lot of games happening here at this location today, this location being the Gardens Casino. That'll sit on the channel for, you know, the duration of the event, and then I'll probably take that video down because then it won't apply after the event is actually over. Right, so meetup game is underway. There's this table right here, there is this table right here, and there is one more table right back here so far. 3 tables going. It's still very early. We put on the promo flyer that we would have a 5 p.m. start time. It is only not even 4 o'clock yet, so it's still early. People are still at work. People are driving through Los Angeles traffic. Expect more games. I expect more games. Time for poker. All right, I'm buying it. Yeah.
I mean, he's here to play. Watch it.
We didn't come to sit out.
Yeah, he's awesome. And he's solid.
All right, guys, I am just picking up my chips and moving them over to the second table of action. Pretty fantastic turnout already. It's only 6 o'clock at the moment, so officially 1 hour into the event, even though I've actually been here for a little bit longer than that. But I think we got double-digit tables already, so that's always a very welcome, warm sight. Amazing turnout once again for the meetup games. We got hands to get into already. So in this first one, very early on in the session, we raised ace-8 of diamonds up to $20. No less than 5 callers. So a standard 6-way pot here in Los Angeles in which we flop the world. The flop comes down 8 high with 2 diamonds. So after confirming just how many crazy gamblers are in this pot, I bet $60, which is half pot. How many people?
6.
Player on my left calls, and there is a player in late position who puts in a raise. He makes it, I think, $165 total. So a little bit of a decision between flatting and just getting it in, but I'm basically never folding in this hand. So I think I can either call and allow the player on my left to call as well, or just go ahead and rip it in and not have to think about it any further. I decided on the former. I decided to flat call and keep all bluffs in, keep drawing hands in that I dominate, who knows what else. But I'm never folding, even if we brick out on the turn and we have to face a bet. So I make the call, and the player on my left decides he wants to jam it in.
Donation.
So after he jams it in, the action is reopened. The player who raised it does not jam it in. He flat calls, but now that it's only another maybe $300 or so, it's $550 altogether, something in that range. I'm just gonna stick it in now so we don't have to think any further. We don't have to do any more counting. I jam it all in, and the player in late position is pot committed. He calls as well. So we're up to see 2 cards here against 2 opponents. The turn is a brick for us. We do not improve. The river, however, is another 8, and it improves us to trips ace kicker. We roll it over, and the player in last position has pocket queens that did not 3-bet pre-flop. So That's going to cost him. Depending on his size pre-flop, I might not have folded anyway, so it might not have changed anything, but it depends on his sizing, and there are some sizings I would have folded too. Anyway, we're scooping a monster pot here in the early going, all in 3 ways, and we are scooping it and up about $1,000 in the early stages.
What a player.
Look at all those chips. Looks really good on the vlog. The very next hand, while I'm still scooping in this ridiculous sized pot, there's a raise from early position of $15. I think there's a call or two, and we look down at ace-5 of clubs. Very standard call here. The flop is another beauty. We flop the world once again. We flop a double gutter plus the nut flush draw. Check to the initial raiser, who bets $40, and it folds back to us. He's only got somewhere around $200 to $250 in his stack altogether. So I think with all this equity, I think it's a pretty straightforward jam being out of position. The roots not go all in here, so I'm all in. I stick it in there, and my opponent pretty much snap calls. We're off to the races again. I show him what he's up against or what we're looking to improve with. We do not improve on the turn, and we do not improve on the river versus the Jack 3 of clubs that came in for the raise and flopped a pair plus worst flush draw. So pretty sure we're a favorite there. I'm not too sure. I want to check the math. I want to see what exactly the math looks like in that situation, but unfortunately we have to give a little bit of a rebate after scooping a huge pot. In this next hand, there's an early position raise to $15 and folds over to us looking down ace-queen offsuit on the button. Even though the initial raise came from early position, I pretty much always like a raise with this hand in particular. Blocks a lot of strong hands, doesn't play great multi-way, so I'd rather knock out the blinds and take it heads up. So my opponent in early position does flat call, and we are off to a flop heads up, which comes king high and pretty dry. After he checks it over to me, normally with this hand I would check a lot, but with this flop in particular, it's going to favor us a lot of the time. And being so dry, I think a down bet is in order. So I size it down to $35. My opponent disagrees with everything I just said. He disagrees that I should have a range advantage. He's going to go ahead and put in a raise to prove it. So he makes it about $100 or so to go, and seeing as we have ace high and not a whole lot of cards that will improve our hand that much versus strong hands especially, I'm just gonna go ahead and let this one go. In this next hand, we open up Queen Jack offsuit to $20, maybe a little bit loose, but it's a meetup game. There's one player in position who makes the call. We flop ourselves top pair on a semi-wet board. There is a flush draw available. So I'm gonna go ahead and c-bet it. My opponent calls. The turn completes a potential straight draw, but the flush draw misses and we still have top pair. So I'm gonna bet it again, and my opponent flat calls once again. So still feeling okay, like I'm gonna have the best hand a lot of the time. The river, however, completes the flush draw now. So there's lots of hands that would have improved by now, and our top pair is not even the strongest top pair or the second strongest top pair. So this time I decided to check it, and my opponent bets $150. Not really loving the situation now. Even though this is the same player who I was up against when he had the Jack 3, he opened in that spot. Could go either way, but I decide to let this one go. I decide on the fold, and my opponent very proudly rolls over the King 9 offsuit for flop gutter ball, turn double gutter ball, and river king high. So he gets one over on us there, and he's 2 for 2 now. First with the Jack 3 and now with the King 9. In this next hand, there are several limps before the small blind puts in what's kind of a small raise. He makes it $20 to go. We're in the big blind. We look down at ace-king offsuit. So facing that sizing, even though my opponent might be a little bit stronger than average, we still have ace-king, which is a premium hand, and it's a smaller sizing than usual. I'm also kind of out of position to the rest of the field aside from the small blind, so I think that makes sense in terms of putting in a 3-bet. I pop it up to $60. The player who we are developing a bit of history with, he cold calls, and the small blind calls as well. So 3 ways to a flop, which comes out ace high with a flush draw. Small blind checks. I'm going to bet $110 here. The limper makes the call, and the small blind folds it. So heads up to a turn card, which is an offsuit 9. I'm going to check it here, check it for a little bit of pot control. We do have the king of clubs, so that eliminates some flush draws that he can have. There's going to be a lot of aces, top pairs that he's going to have, but I don't know if we can get 3 streets versus that type of a hand anyway. So I check it, and my opponent bets $200. Very happy to call here. I toss it in, and we are off to a river card, which is another 9. So this is actually a pretty good card because we're beating ace 5 now. We still lose to ace 10. We lose to pocket 5s. I don't think he's ever going to have pocket 10s. He could have some sort of a random 9 of clubs. Yeah, he could have a 9 of clubs. He could have backdoored into trips, but there's some other hands that we beat. So I'm feeling okay about this when I check and my opponent bets $350. not going to think about this for too long. We have ace king and the flush draw bricked out. So after we check call the turn, I'm just going to have to check call the river here, and my opponent announces a full house. He rolls over the 10-9 offsuit, so not exactly the full house that I might have expected, but a full house nonetheless, and that's going to beat ace king. So things are not going as good as they were in the immediate going. We started off up $1,000 and now not so much. One more hand from this craziness has happened on table number 1. Same loose player opens for $20. The button puts in a raise up to $60, I believe. And we looked at an ace king of clubs in the small blind. So the player on the button only has maybe $450. He's got less than 100 big blinds effective. There's craziness going on this table. He could easily be going for value with a variety of hands versus this initial raiser. And we have ace king suited and we're out of position. So all this is going to add up to a 4-bet jam when the opponent, the 3-better on the button, has less than 100 big blinds effective. We stick it in there. As expected, the middle position opener folds it and the player on the button calls it. He tells me to get the camera ready.
Get the camera rolling.
All right, it's rolling. Okay, good luck. It's ready and rolling, and we are up against pocket kings. So things have taken a turn here for sure. We're off to the races, looking for the 30% to come through. It doesn't come through on the flop, the turn, or the river. So dust off another $400, $450 there. After being up $1,000 in the immediate going, we are now well into Stuckville after table numero uno. All right, I'm going that direction. I'm going over there somewhere. I'm gonna try and turn the tide here. The California variance is in full effect. I just want to see how a professional poker blogger does what he does best.
This is not a good hand to come and watch.
I'm just gonna go away now.
You want to see?
I'm just gonna step away and give some commentary here real quick. This is never gonna work. It's never gonna work. He got raised. He got raised. I saw it. All right, so carrying on and made it over to this table right here. There was an interesting hand that went down. I believe there was a late position open, or no, there was a middle position open and several callers. We looked down at pocket jacks and the small blinds. Prime squeezing opportunity here, so don't want to play out of position, don't want to flat call, don't want to let the big blind in for a cheap price. Go ahead and 3-bet it up to 100 and I think 25 or 130, something like that. This guy just rips it all in there. How much money did you have?
470 baby, against the Neeme.
470.
$470.
Under the gun limb, the old classic.
You?
Yeah.
No, I think you were big blind.
No, I was under the gun.
Are you sure?
Yes, 100%. Under the gun limb.
So I don't think so.
Under the gun limb.
If that's true,
that's 100% true.
if that's true, then I like my play a lot less. But anyway, I thought he was the big blind at the time. I'm still not convinced, but rips it in for 470, folds back to us. I think for that price, we were 3-betting for value, so we're pretty much just pot committed here. We're going with it. Congratulations to this guy for having pocket kings when I have pocket jacks for under 100 big blinds.
Tell them to flop.
It was dramatic. It was a little bit dramatic. We flopped a flush draw. Just a little bit extra tease in the whole situation. The good news is he bought me some Blue Label. So cheers. Small consolation prize, but it's the thought that counts.
Yeah, 470. This is 500. There is a check.
I thought I had a big mix here. All right, guys, we're just about to wrap up this meetup game, cash game here at the Gardens Casino in Los Angeles. Before we get into one more hand of notes, just to wrap it up, You know, something that, yet another thing that we can file under things that I never saw coming, things that I never would expect to happen when I first started a YouTube vlog was approximately 19 tables worth of people singing me happy birthday in the casino.
We're getting you all in the vlog.
Happy birthday, dear Andrew. Happy birthday to you.
All right. Oh, money. I got money. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Shout out to Brad for making that happen. Shout out to all of you guys who joined us here at this meetup game. Just a ridiculous turnout. 19 tables worth of 5-5 games, plus the additional 5-5 games that were already running in the high limit section. I think there was a total of 24 games or something running at this stake level. A massive number and a record-setting number for Los Angeles meetup games, that's for sure. All right, last hand of notes. There's a straddle on. There's an early position race, $35. We'd look down at sevens, make the call, and straddle or calls. We finally find a favorable flop here tonight. Flop comes ace jack 7 with a flush draw. Action checks over to me. Definitely gonna bet it, try to get some money in this pot on a wet board.
60?
60?
Yeah.
I bet $60 and the straddler puts in a min raise up to $120.
120.
This is a pretty good sign. He's never gonna have pocket aces or pocket jacks here. Would always expect him to 3-bet those hands. So we have the virtual nuts. The initial raiser folds back over to us. On top of that 120, I have about $375. So there's gonna be a lot of cards that could kill a lot of action. Some straight cards, some flush cards. I would love to get the money in as fast as possible. So I shovel it all in there. We're all in for an additional $375 on top of that 120.
All in?
All in.
375.
My opponent thinks for a brief while before calling it. I announce what I have right away, and he is none too pleased. The board runs out pretty safe for us. I don't think there's any clubs that roll off there. And we do, in fact, scoop this pot, which is a rare highlight. Not too many highlights since that very first hand, that very first table in which we scooped a big pot. So we do find a double up here. It's not gonna get us anywhere close to unstuck. We're into this game for no less than $3,000 US in a 5-5 game, 600 max. Things did not go our way tonight. We cashed out of this game for right around $1,100. So we lose $1,900. So I would like to think that I am a very good host at these meetup games. Gave a decent amount of action. Definitely did not come out anywhere near ahead. The good news is that we had an exceptional night last night. So over the past couple nights here at the Gardens, we're still well in the black. Poker's a funny thing, you know. It's like it's just never smooth sailing. You can have a great session and think things are going to just continue to go your way indefinitely, and the very next session just get whacked. It's that California variance, it'll do it to you. But really good times. Again, amazing turnout. Cheers to everyone who was here. I'm gonna go over to the bar and grab a beer and decompress a little bit with whoever shows up and wants to tell some poker war stories. All right, guys, quick update from day 3, I guess, of my hangout here at the Gardens Casino. This was officially day 2 of the meetup game. Just wrapped up the tournament back here, $340 buy-in. Entries were on the smaller side because there was so much competition this weekend for tournaments. The WPT is in town, so a lot of people are playing those tournaments. We got a few tables of people together for this tournament, and your boy here made it down to the final table, worked himself into a chop. This guy's taken home 1,700 and something, so we'll take it. Haven't chopped a tournament in forever, and we will take it. The first chop proper score for the meetup game tournaments for the good guys.
Hi, Lingo Martin here, Christy here, and we are in Australia. And we've been working pretty hard rounding up a bunch of donations from awesome, generous poker players over the last week, and it's just been insane how much generosity has been shown for.
This woman started with a 10K Australian dollar goal, blew past it because you guys, poker players, are the most generous, and now we've got a 50,000 AUD goal?
Well, actually, right now at the time of recording, we're only 2,000 away from it.
Oh, shoot!
So I think I'm about to bump it up to 100K.
And
Why
you
not?
can help us do that. Every single dollar counts.
Yes, $5, $10, so many donations are coming in and it just all adds up. It's so helpful and we're just so grateful seeing that long list of names of donations. It all helps. So if you can spare it, please.
Please, because I'm telling you, every morning this girl sees the dollars and she actually sees like the koalas and the kangaroos.
Giving
who are-
happy dances every morning.
who are really, I mean, they're struggling. I mean, everything helps.
It's awful. It's estimated now over 1 billion animals have been affected by the fires that are going on. If you're not sure of what's going on, the news is huge down here. And a bunch of species could be extinct from this. It's really mortifying, including our precious koala. They're already at risk and a bunch of them we have lost, so we need to help protect them. Okay, thank you. Bye. We love you. Mwah.